So we're in my backyard today because I want to talk about grass. I have a lot of clients who look at homes that have maybe not such great grass, and they want to know if they'll ever be able to reestablish it. And I wanted to walk you through my personal history with our grass back here. When we bought this house about 5 years ago, there was no fence back here, and the property ended right about where we're building this fire pit here. Beyond that, it was this very thick forest, essentially, and we've been struggling ever since to get grass to grow back here and get established. So this is our second attempt. We had sod put in two and a half years ago, and for this space back here, which is about 5,000 square feet, that was $5,000 essentially. It was like $4,500. And up until this last winter, we had two big dogs, and they would just race around these trees, and even after 3 months of really heavy watering, the sod would pull up when one of our dogs would turn, and the roots never really got established because as you can see, we have really thick shade back here. This is about as shady as it gets. And so that sod just never established, even though it was supposedly a shade blend of grass. So we gave up on that end of last summer, and I just said, you know what, we're going to replace it. There's one of our dogs now. We gave up on that sod end of last summer. I said, it's never going to last. Let's just stop putting any effort into it. We're going to replace it. So this spring, we had Rainbow Lawn Care out of the Twin Cities come out and hydroseed this. And what they did was they took a power rake and they pulled up basically all of the old grass. They were able to dig down to dirt in most places and thin it out, get all the thatch out of there. And then they sprayed from a 1,500 gallon tank all of this grass seed back here. And this is now, so it took a lot of watering. Obviously, it was watering 3 times a day for 15 minutes each time. It's now been about a month, maybe a little bit more, maybe 6 weeks, and you can see it's starting to really take shape. I've mowed it twice because you're supposed to mow it after 3 inches. It's still patchy. We're going to still have to overseed it, but it's established pretty well. It's there's weeds and stuff back here, but you know, it's getting decent roots established, and I had them fill in a few places in the front yard too. But the cost difference alone, for me, hydroseeding just makes way more sense. The fact that this whole space, this 5,000 square foot space in our backyard, costs $4,500 for sod, costs $1,400 for hydroseeding, and that included all of the prep and everything for the same amount of space. So even if I have to pay somebody to come in and overseed it again, or if I have to spend the time and overseed it, it's really totally worth it to me to hydroseed versus sod. Even though it takes a little bit more work because you have to water it a little bit more frequently than sod, it's still a much better option as far as I'm concerned, especially for a thick shade like this. Now in full sun, I think sod might be better, but as you can see here, I'll show you our front yard. We just have nothing but shade. So there's a few spots up here that we patched in as well, and I've got to overseed this front lawn as well, but it just took really nicely, and I'm very impressed with hydroseeding.